there, welcome to the channel or welcome back. My name is Angela. I'm a home gardener growing here in my southwestern Ohio garden in the US, Zone 6. And today we're doing something a little bit different here. I actually have something to share with you guys. This is a garden journal that I have been using for the past year, and I've used it for long enough now that I feel confident in recommending it. We'll get into that here in just a moment. As we are getting into the holiday season here, like well within the holiday season, I thought it might be fun to share with you guys this garden journal that I treated myself to last year about this time, give or take. And in case you're looking for the perfect gift for the gardener in your life, this might be it. I love this thing. Let's take a look at it. So this is it. It's a pretty hefty. I've got papers stuck in there. There's all kinds of stuff in here. I'm going to open it up and share it with you guys, but just to give you a look at like the heft and the size of this. It's the Garden Journal, a 5-year record of your home garden. It's by Linda Vater, who is one of my absolute favorite YouTube personalities. Garden icon. I love her so much. I had seen this for a while and finally just decided to pull the plunge or pull the trigger and get it. The way that it's laid out is really nice. And like I mentioned, it is a 5-year journal, and I'll show you what that means here in a second. So in the front cover, there's a pocket. You can put papers in, seed packets, whatever you like that fits in there. And it's actually really laid out like an actual book with a table of contents. It's so nice. The paper quality is so good. It's thick. It doesn't bleed through when you write on it. So you can do a profile of your garden, all about, I'll hold that up and then I'll tell you what's on here. Your garden's growing zone, like your frost dates, average rainfall. And there's even a chart of hardiness for 20 major U.S. cities. Soil characteristics, there's a place to put in soil test results, which I have yet to do and I should do. Soil amendment usage. I feel like she's thought of everything. And then next there's several pages that are just like grids that you can use for planning and doing layout. Looks like there are 3 pages for that. And what I'm using those pages for different things. Like this first one, I am using it I've put some photos that I pulled off the internet of gardens that inspire me and printed them out on my little 2x3 sticky photo paper. I have a little printer that does that. So I've kind of put them in here in the front, just as inspiration of what I'm trying to go for in my garden as I'm really, really ramping up these landscaping efforts and trying to make the place look a little nicer. And then the next grid layout, I used it to write down areas around the place that I want to focus on and specific ideas as they come to me of things I could implement. And then the third set of grid papers or graph papers, I haven't done anything with yet. But it doesn't matter because I'm going to be using this. So I've used it for 1 full year. I have 4 more years that I'm going to use this journal. It's so cool. Then there's a page for garden inventory. You can write down what tools you have, large equipment, hand tools, miscellaneous. I feel like Linda has thought of everything with this journal. There's a tool maintenance record. And all throughout, she sprinkles in text here with good ideas, information. Then we've got several pages for plant inventory. There's one set of pages for large and small trees, which I haven't yet filled in. I kind of keep track of that in an Excel sheet because I'm such an Excel nerd. So at some point I might print that off and tape it in my book here. And then similarly, the next one, plant inventory for perennials. 2 pages for that. Actually, perennials and annuals. And then ground covers and herbs. It's so comprehensive. And then another one for bulbs, which I'm not too big into bulbs at this time. And then this page here is a guide for bulb planting depth. So that's pretty sweet. And then we've got a couple of pages for edible plants. Seed inventory is the next one. And there's several pages just for seed inventory. There's one for annuals, perennials, and herbs. And like with my trees and shrubs, I keep my seed list in Excel. So I actually did kind of print that out and tape it on here. So I've got that. You can see that's my page I printed out and taped in. There's a section on weights and measures and conversions from metric to imperial, and insect and disease control advice, and a chart where you can log your product applications if you use anything like that. I'm not going to show you like every single page. There's so much in here. We would be here a long time. And then the rest of the book, the actual journal part of it, she has it broken down into the seasons, winter and spring, summer, and fall, but starts with winter and actually starts with, bear with me here, January. So even though winter technically begins in December, I guess to kind of keep it flowing through the calendar year, she starts it with the season of winter, but the month of January. So you can record seasonal observations on this page here. And there's so much. Seasonal chore log on the next page, and she actually does give a winter chore checklist for early winter, midwinter, and late winter, and all of that is here. So I'm trying to keep up with that as I go, and like I mentioned, I'm just coming to the end of my first year using this. Let's see, entertaining and holidays. If you do a lot of entertaining, there's a table you can log that here as far as the traditions that you follow, who you invited. We don't do a lot of hosting here compared to how we used to, so that is blank for me. Maybe I'll make that a goal for next year. There's so much in here. And then we start with the actual journal. So there's 2 days on each page. So right here we're looking at 4 days of journaling, and I'll bring it in closer. So my January 1st of last year, there's a space to write the year and the weather. And for January 1st of this past January 25, winter, I noted that winter is really setting in, a few flurries, some cold drizzle, window shopping, plants online because of course, and hunkering down. And then, so that's my January 1st of 25. There's 4 more spaces for the next 4 years. So it's a nice way to look back on the last 4 years and kind of compare from year to year. So we go all the way through March in that. And you can see this is March 17th through March 20th here. And I do try to at least note the weather every day, even if I don't note like the today in the garden as it's listed. And what I use for the today in the garden, I'll either note down what I did that day in the garden or just how it was out in the natural world around the place. Like maybe if the weather was doing anything unusual. And then I've even kind of put some pictures in here when it was notable, even though I know it does cut into the space for the next 4 years. So I'm not doing that all the time, but just occasionally. When I think it's worth a picture, I'll print a little picture and stick it in there. So then we get into spring. And so it's kind of the same thing. There's a page for recording seasonal observations, seasonal chore log, and once again, she gives the checklist for early, mid, and late spring. And talks about, there's also the section for entertaining, and then like how much mulch to use. There's just so much informational stuff in here. I can't believe how comprehensive this book is, and it's pretty reasonably priced too. If I remember, I might have paid like 17 bucks for it. For this, that was like a majorly good deal. I'll link this below in the description in case you're interested. But for the spring section, there's also a place where you can note what you sowed, plants to help fill in the garden, planting for pollinators. It's a totally robust book. And then we get into the journal portion for the next 3 months, April, May, and June. Let me get to the end of that. And then we are off into summer. So you can kind of get the gist of how this is going. So it's been so much fun to fill this in. And I can't believe it's been like almost a year that I've been using it. I think I purchased this last fall with the intention of starting it on January 1st. And I'm so glad that I did. I had my eye on it for a while, and I thought, I don't know if I would really do it or not, but for the most part, I've been pretty faithful and kept up with it. Then in the back of the book, there's some blank lined pages, notes. What does it say? Notes from the gardener. I haven't recorded anything there yet. And there's just a few pages of that, like maybe 4 pages. And I like the fact that, oh, hang on. And then in the back, there's a whole section of resources and an index. So it really is, like here's part of the index. So it's set up just like a real book with the table of contents, the index, because it's more than just a journal. There's all kinds of information in here. And then these are just some things that I have printed that are helpful. Just print articles that I really want to read and focus on. And the fact that it's like letter-sized, a full-sized book, you can easily, like if you have, these are some graph papers that I've been using for a while of my layout. You can easily just, tuck them in. I mean, they overhang a little bit, but it's not a big deal. It all fits in really nicely. And then there's the back. By the way, if you're not following, oh, and one more thing. It has a nice little ribbon here. It seems to be well made as far as how it's put together. And like I mentioned, the pages, the paper is thick, nice to write on. If you are a journal, planner, office supply junkie like me, like that how much that matters, like the nice quality of paper and so forth. I feel like that this is going to be an archival book, the fact that it's a 5-year record. And I like it so much that when they went on sale earlier this year, I bought a second one because the price was too good. So whether we're still here at this property or I'm starting a new garden somewhere else, I'll have that next journal to continue on or start anew. But I like it that much, and I don't want to risk this like not being available again. I mean, not that there's any indication that it would, but it's just so nice. If you've seen this before, you follow Linda, and you aren't sure whether you would like this, I'm going to say go ahead and treat yourself or your favorite gardener. It's definitely, it's worth it for sure. I hope that you enjoyed this video as much as I am enjoying my 5-year garden journal. I didn't mean for this to be a fangirl kind of plug for this journal, but I love it so much that I wanted to share it with you guys in case it's something that you might also be interested in. And soon I'm going to be sharing a review of how things went in my garden this year. Wins, losses, big successes, anything that I learned, what I would do differently. So look for that to come soon. Also, if you saw my last video, you might recall that I was expecting a plant haul from an Etsy shop called Hertz Gardens, and that came yesterday. So I've got six little shrubs. They're just tiny. They're in little 4-inch pots, but they will be overwintering here around the house in their pots. But I'll share that plant haul with you soon in case you're interested in seeing what I got. In the meantime, I will leave you with a video that I did last winter to share with you how I was coping with the dreary days of winter, what I was reading primarily, just to kind of keep that cozy feel and keep my mind and spirit in tune with my garden. That video will be right over there. And thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I greatly appreciate it. If you liked the video or found it helpful, I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up. And please consider subscribing if you haven't already. That way you won't miss the plant haul and you'll get to see my garden year in review. And maybe, best of all, my upcoming plans for next year in the garden. Thanks again, and in the meantime, just keep planting.